Hello, everyone. I am Sophia Ring, SP Saturn the 7th, and you are watching Anime Egotists. Enjoy!
And welcome back to the Anime Egotists, where I don't know, he doesn't know, she doesn't know, but you know who's got the power.
Yes, we do.
Yes, my name's Alex, and it's hard having beautiful hair like this, so you should feel sorry for me. And actually, you should just feel sorry for me regardless, because, it's a mess over here sometimes.
And I'm Richard. I don't have that beautiful hair, so.
I know, and I don't want to imagine what you'd look like with it. But welcome back to the Anime Egotists. It's nice to be back doing all this sorts of stuff, and just want to say from one of the last videos we did, thank you so much to Poke for Lax for joining us. That was a lot of fun, where we talked about Pokemon journeys and all this other sorts of stuff, and now things are getting crazy in journeys, but I'm still keeping my expectations relatively mellow. But still, thank you to Poke for Lax for joining us.
Yes, it was much appreciated.
Yeah, and what's also appreciated are the worlds in anime, and we've kind of talked about there are a lot of anime worlds we wouldn't want to live in for one reason or another, but there are also a lot of worlds that I wouldn't mind spending too much time in.
Yeah, it could be that the people there are so nice. It could be that the adventure that you go on in this world is just an amazing thing. There's all sorts of different things, so we have a lot to go over, I think, in this one.
Yeah, so we're going to be covering another list of the best anime worlds to live in. But before we begin, I've been saying for a while, I really want to get us to 100 subscribers. And I thought at some point maybe we'd get to that. And we did. And I wanted to talk more about and just thank everybody for subscribing. And then we jumped to 200. And now we're at like 270 something. I'm honestly not sure why in the world you guys are subscribing to this channel, but it is a really good feeling, especially since a couple of our videos have gone past the 1,000 mark, one of which even going past 10,000, if you want to believe that. But seriously, a lot of new supporters lately. I promise I will read your names out at some point, but in all seriousness, thank you guys, because there's just too many of you to count right now, and you would get sick of us really quick. But in all seriousness, thank you for the love.
Yes, it's much appreciated, and don't worry, we have plenty of new content that's not just the same lists, like part 2s and 3s. We've got plenty of lists that we came up with recently, so we're going to be working on that.
And for those of you who are wondering, are you going to do any more solo commentaries? Trust me, I have about 20 or so thumbnails saved up. We will get to those. Maybe one will even come out the day after this video, but who knows? But anyways, the best anime worlds to live in. Do you mind if I go first?
Go right ahead.
Okay, this is going to be a little bit of a shock to you, but I'm going to say Attack on Titan.
Okay.
Junior high.
Okay.
Okay, so in all seriousness, Attack on Titan Junior High might be my favorite iteration of the franchise itself. It's so goofy to see all of our favorite characters just, instead of going through, oh, my mom got killed by the Titans, my mom got attacked by a Titan, it's just, a Titan stole my lunch. That's basically the types of things they go through. Connie's an oddball, Armin is oddly adorable at times, and it's still weird. But in all seriousness, with all the characters in Attack on Titan that I do enjoy, it's nice to just see them living normal-ish lives and just seeing them get along. Because, in all honesty, this is the life they all deserve. Just going through school, just being friends with each other. It's nice to see.
I always assumed it was the actual ending to the anime.
It better be. Better be.
I mean, it just makes sense. I mean, that's kind of what I understand the personality of Eren is in season 4, is that the Titans stole his lunch, so now he's getting revenge on the humans for stealing the lunch from the Titans.
Exactly. Now, I wouldn't want to be school president like in that one episode because things got really, really weird then, but I'd like to think I'd be cool with Connie. Obviously, I'd be cool with Krista because her name wasn't Historia at this point, at least from what we knew. Who I think I would just get along with these people. Now, as for the Titans stealing everybody's food, well, we'd have a problem with that. But the school festivals and everything would be completely worth it.
Yeah, but in all honesty, I've only seen I think the first 2 episodes of this, but
yeah, and you did not seem happy with it.
Yeah, it's I can understand though. It is a good, funny. They exaggerate the characteristics of every character and change their motivations to be just that much more comedic. So I could understand wanting to live in this world.
Exactly. So, what's your first world?
So this one's kind of a sequel to the one to our original list,
Well, of
and that,
course, it is a sequel, but okay, go ahead.
but specifically one in that one I said Sword Art Online, but there always seems to be deadly consequences, and the only reason I wanted there was because of the technology that was available, like where you could dive into pretty much a whole virtual world sort of thing.
Okay.
So this one is called uh, Buffery. I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense.
I'm sorry,
It's
what?
I don't know. I'm probably not pronouncing it right, but it's pretty much the same premise except for it's just a video game. It's there's no life or death consequences. The main character is actually a really nice girl. She's getting into video games. She doesn't quite understand how to build a balanced character, so she just puts every time she levels up into her defense to the point where she's pretty much unkillable. It- but the idea of it's more for the technology of the world that you get to dive into the games, interact with people, and in your mind, you're literally playing the game.
Okay. Hey, is this? Is this? This sounds like an isekai. I'm gonna be honest. Is it?
Not fully. There's no. There is. It's all about going into a video game, but then they can leave whenever they want. There's no getting trapped in there.
Oh, okay.
It's there's a large part of it takes place in the real world where she's working with her best friend who's getting her into the game. Uh, but then there's this whole fantasy world that they play that's the video game. So that's the kind of thing. It's more for the technology of this world that I would want to go there. The characters are all nice as far as I remember. It's been a couple years since or about a year since I saw this one when it first came out. So, but I just would find it fun. And I think it would be something we would all really enjoy if we could all play it.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about this anime, especially with how confused I was at just the name, but that's everything nowadays. But I guess I can co-sign on to that. I can agree with that.
All right. So your next one?
All right, my next one. This shouldn't be that much of a shock. Bakugan Battle Brawlers.
Okay.
It just seems like one of those places where, like, despite all the stuff that goes on, everybody is more or less chill. Well, I mean, the villains are kind of all over the place, but at the same time, the characters are likable enough. The card game seems really fun, and I just like the immersion of you go into this different dimension and then you basically play the game. And it's not like I could get in trouble at any point because apparently time freezes while you're playing, and then the second the game's over, time resumes for you, so you're not missing a whole lot. You could be home and you could go out and come right back and be straight. But I just, like I said, I like a lot of the characters. The game itself is really, really cool. Well, and I just like the lore surrounding it. Just sure, you have to go through a lot with the villains, but it's still nice that the characters will stick up for each other, and everybody just finds ways to make each other better. It just be a cool place to be.
Plus, having your own uh, partner Bakugan would be kind of cool.
Dibs on Leonidas. But yes, it's, in all seriousness, it just would be a cool place. Now, I don't really know how to take care of a partner Bakugan. Like, do I have to feed it or something, or is it just trapped there, or when does it go to sleep? I don't know. But ultimately, the pros outweigh the cons.
Yeah, I can co-sign on to that. I remember the first series. I think that's kind of where I stopped watching. I never watched the sequel where they traveled to another world or something.
I tried, but I could not. The card game got so much more complicated at that point. I'm just like, this isn't working.
Yeah, neither of us I think know about the new version that came out like 2 years ago or something like that. So
I've heard it's good, but I don't know for sure. Just as a question for your side of things, do you know what element you'd want or attribute, whatever they call it? Because I'd want dark.
I might go with water, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just one I would probably use
Yeah. All
or want
right.
to use.
and we could team up and just destroy everybody.
Yeah, because I remember there being some sort of tournament, that might have been like just having it on during, because I remember the second or third season I had it on when I was getting ready for school, and it was like, this makes no sense because I had missed like 20 episodes.
That tends to happen, but I find it hard to believe there are two. If there's a show that 20 episodes that you skip and you still don't miss anything, in my opinion, something's wrong. But overall, Bakugan Battle Brawlers, it would just be a cool place to hang out and chill.
No, I could agree. So I'll co-sign.
All right, what's your next one?
All right. So my next one is, let's see. How heavy are the dumbbells you lift?
Oh God, this one really?
I need
Okay.
to get in shape, and God, do I think that they could get me in shape somehow? It's just, and the comedic elements of this show. I don't know why I loved it so much.
I mean, don't get me wrong. For based on the little I've seen, the characters seem fine. But like, here's the thing: I'm okay with getting moderately in shape, but I don't want to get like super jacked like that one guy. Like that was bizarre to watch, to say the least.
Oh God, I always forget his name, but I know who you're talking about. Where he shows up in a tracksuit, looks normal, then like makes a slight move, and all of a sudden this tracksuit rips up, and he's 3 times the size.
If anybody wants to make fan art of us looking like that, please go for it.
I guess, so, but no, I. But in all honesty, this is more for the fact that I'm out of shape, and I found that when I've had partners to actually work out, I've done better than I do when I'm by myself, and that's for sure. So,
Oddly enough, there's an anime that I have basically for the same reason that's on my list, but I'm not getting into that until towards the end.
all right,
But I
but yeah,
guess
those stuff
I could guess I could co-sign as long as things don't get too weird.
they would get weird. But in all honesty, it's if it was us, I imagine we never actually went to the gym together, so that's I don't know
Yeah.
how things would happen.
It just depends. But anyways, I can co-sign.
All right,
All right, my next one,
go right ahead.
Saint Seiya.
Okay,
I've just found the lore of Saint Seiya to be super interesting. I think the powers themselves are actually kind of underrated, and I just think like this whole because it's not necessarily that you're just born with these powers. It's you have to go through training, and basically like you get your own. Not everybody shares the same power. Like one person has a pet as form of a Pegasus, a dragon, etc., that sort of thing. It would just be cool to kind of manifest your own like sort of power. Not to mention, just in my opinion, especially the golden armor forms would be super cool and everything. And honestly, I just think a lot of the attacks are really cool looking, like the meteor crash and just a lot of different stuff. Like the attacks, in my opinion, some of the attacks for Saint Seiya are some of the more better attacks in anime, just because they feel so much more simpler because there's so many attacks that are over the top and it feels kind of crazy. But I don't know. It's not the most informed reason, but Saint Seiya to me would just be a cool place to train and just get your own sort of abilities and stuff.
so sign from what I've seen of both the original and the uh, recent remake that they did on Netflix. The powers are always looked kind of cool, and yeah, the armors were always nice. I mean, it doesn't really matter which style to me. I liked like the classic look, but I do agree that the golds are really nice looking.
Yeah. Yeah, and just ultimately, it's just one of the more, it's somehow one of the more popular anime and one of the more unpopular anime because people don't really talk about it that much, and I don't know. That makes me kind of sad, especially with how Seiya was in J Stars, and he became quickly became one of my favorites to play as.
Yeah, that it's one of those that was always seems to be on everybody's back burner. It's like, oh yeah, I'll eventually watch it, and then having to find it is the hard part most of the time.
Yeah, well, finding it legally, anyways. But overall, that Saint Seiya.
And I'll completely co-sign on to that. So my next one. So this is one I don't think I've talked about before on here, and that's After School Dice Club. It pretty much just takes place in a world very similar to our own. It's one I've recently watched. Pretty much follows a set of classmates that have all seem to have a love of board games. Pretty much, it kind of reminds me of that club Nathan was a part of when we were there. Just but having where we just played Cards Against Humanities like the entire time, but having more options of just better or of a whole bunch of different games rather than
Yeah.
Cards Against Humanities or Monopoly.
Yeah, well, the second I heard dice, I immediately thought of Duke Devlin from Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm like, dude, I can't learn Dungeon Dice Monsters. It's, no.
I kind of want to, but that's another video. Maybe I'll do a thing on that. But no, but then all this, one of the characters, her name is Mickey. I feel so bad for her because she's got really bad social anxiety at the start, and I just want to give her a hug because she starts fearing that she's going to lose her friends at the end because they all have their own dreams, and some of them have plans to go on their own after high school, and it's like it happens, but you're still going to be friends, and that's kind of how it ends. Is that they're still going to be friends. They may not talk all the time like they do now, but they will eventually grow. And she ends up learning that just because someone goes away doesn't mean that they're gone forever from your life. So
I mean, I want to side with you there, but I barely talk to anybody from college anymore, or high school, or elementary school, or just. But hey, I wouldn't stop you from making her feel better. So it's similar to, for me, like what I said last time. I wanted to live in Watamote just to give the main character Tomoko, just be like, hey, you're gonna be all right. Only difference is based on past experience of being friends with you and living with you, you generally don't make things better. If anything, you make my life worse. But if you think you can turn it around, so be it.
well, that's because I was purposely trying to make your life hard, but
Oh please, you didn't have to try. Let's be honest.
no. But in all honesty, it's just the characters are really nice, and those were a lot of fun when we played board games. So, and well, specifically Cards Against Humanity, like all the time. That was, yeah.
Yeah, and then we stopped doing it for whatever reason. But yeah, I can co-sign on to that. That the idea of people being friends forever is nice, even if it's completely unrealistic at this point. But that might just be me. But I can
Yeah.
co-sign on to that.
All right, your next one.
All right, similar in the vein to Gintama, I had to throw this one on the list. Bobo 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 Bo.
Okay, but doesn't that mean you have to be bald?
No, it doesn't. If anything, here's the thing. This show, I've said it before, this is one of the craziest shows I've ever seen. And I don't look like an extra character. I think we can all agree with that, especially when it comes to anime. So I'd like to think at some point I could be a at least side character or a pseudo main character and join up with the main cast. With all the similar to Gintama, with all of the references and stuff they do, and all the weird, bizarre powers and cutaways and weird stuff like that, I'd like to think I'd be safe. Plus, in all seriousness, a lot of the characters are friends with each other. A lot of the characters do enjoy each other's company. I would just have to get smacked around a lot because I would not be the straight man. I would just be weirding out with everybody else.
I can kind of see it. Yeah, I definitely couldn't see you as just like a random person in the world because if I remember correctly, it's most people don't have any hair.
Yeah, because the villains of the show are trying to remove everybody's hair.
Okay, yeah, no, because I can't see it. I haven't seen you before without your dreads, so
It's probably not gonna happen. But and the crazy thing is, my ultimate attack would just be my dreads coming to life, similar to Medusa, and then I would just punch them in the face. It works for the show because the show is just a bunch of random craziness. I miss that show so much. And the weird thing is, I don't, even if it ever got remade, I'm like, no, it's like perfect as it was, especially the last episode, because the last episode was something.
I can co-sign. I think it would be a crazy fun world to live in. So,
Yeah. Plus, I could eat all the jelly I want. But what's your next one?
all right. So my next one, let's see, is Welcome to Demon School, Irma Kun. So
Okay.
this one is plays on the stereotype that neither side really knows what the other's about. The demons think humans are fake, and humans think demons are fake. But then his Irma's Kun's parents make the deal with Sullivan. Don't know his other name, but I know he goes by Sullivan in the English dub, and he ends up getting brought into the demon world to live as Sullivan's grandson.
That's to say, you're really into demons and stuff, I'm starting to notice.
This one's more or less just a slice of life uh, series that takes place in like a demon world. It's
Oh, okay.
really, yeah. You've got the characters are all just relatively likable. There's a few that are kind of annoying, but for the most part, their class is really good and just yeah. They've got a demon like, and they all represent different sort of sins. Is the best way of putting it because some are there's succubuses who are lustful. There are sleeping demons who are slothful. So they just do all these different things, but all the characters pretty much just want to live. They're living their regular high school life. Something I've noticed that it's like, oh god, I want to go back to high school. Why?
I was about to say, the memories from there are not always pleasant.
That is true. Then again, it always seems like we fantasize about the Japanese version where there's always seems to be more activities for the classes to do outside of just regular school.
Yeah, yeah, basically.
Yeah, but I mean they've done a school festival, different like almost athletic days that they had to do uh, for their ranking in the school. It's really weird, and a lot of fun. I don't know how else to put it. It's just one of those weird, colorful worlds.
Yeah, I honestly haven't even seen it because I'm gonna be 100% honest. There's a couple of other anime I've started, and there's just so much more on my backlist. But I can,
Exactly.
I can co-sign based on the very little I know of it.
All right. So now we're on to honorable mentions, right?
Alrighty, honorable mentions time. So I'm just gonna say this was on this was if I recall this was on your side of the world you wouldn't want to live in the first time. But I come on, we've been watching this since childhood. A tiny part of you would want to live here. The Dragon Ball universe. Look, I
Yeah.
know we've talked last time. It's like, oh well, we wouldn't be that strong, or we'd be like less than Hercule at some points. But come on, the idea of learning the Kamehameha and just hanging out with everybody is kind of too much to is too much to pass up in my regard. All right, I mean, the characters are really fun, the powers are cool, and I just feel like just living in that world with all those dinosaurs and like because the world building in Dragon Ball is really impressive in my opinion and pretty underrated. But just learning all these new techniques and fighting styles and even coming up with some of your own just really makes it interesting for me. Plus, if we do well enough, we could be in Xenoverse 2 download, like the 100th DLC pack or whatever they're on at this point.
Exactly. Again, this would I remember putting it on my not want to be mainly because of, if we're stuck being human, we're not changed into anything. We we stand very little chance of being among the strongest. But if you do become Saiyan or half Saiyan or Namekian or whatever or cyborg, then you end up being like one of the strongest in the entire universe, and actually universe says so.
Yeah, but also just like at some point, I'd like to think at some point we would run into Goku or somebody and then we could say, hey, train me. Please train me. And I'd like to think they would say yes. Especially Whis, because all we have to do is give him sweets and we'd be set.
That is true.
Yeah, also, that's another thing. The food looks amazing in Dragon Ball.
For the most part, yeah. There's every so often I don't know how I'd feel about sensu beans being filled in with a single bite is kind of I don't know. That
Well,
seems weird to me.
supposedly, if for a normal person eats a sensu bean, like it fills them up for like 10 days or something like that. But
Yep.
in all, plus if we ever came back, we could just show off our powers and then probably eventually destroy the planet if because like not even on purpose, just like I don't know, I trip and fall with the key blast and just boom, bye Earth.
Then we're just like, okay, well, next universe.
Yep, let's do it. Plus, you and I would have to try the fusion at some point just to see how people reacted.
Oh God, I don't know what would happen.
I don't either, and I try not to think about it, but I'm sure somebody's thinking about it more than me right now. But Dragon Ball, well, there would be some problems, which is why it's an honorable mention. But we love Dragon Ball. I had to include it in some aspect.
Yeah, I can co-sign. I could see it going either way of being either really bad or being amazing. So,
Yeah,
all right. So my first honorable mention, I'm putting this one on here mainly because of the cast of characters that I've gotten to know from watching it, and that's that time I got reincarnated as a slime.
how did I know this was going to be on your list?
So the characters, at least the main cast, are really nice. I could see getting along with monsters that just, I mean, they're pretty much just trying to build their own society. And God, it makes me think, wow, humans are dicks. Because the like Holy Empire in like the last season tried to destroy the monster country only to get completely destroyed by the like the generals of the monster army at the end because as revenge.
I can't believe you're just now learning that human beings aren't as good as they're cracked up to be. Because I've known that for since I was what 2.5 maybe.
Yeah. But in all honesty, the characters are nice, and if you're nice to the monsters, they work well with humans and have actually formed alliances. So I could see myself getting along with them, and it's like just helping out. And with if I'm a monster, okay, great, I'll help build this civilization out here in the middle of this wood. So
Yeah, I can. I guess I can co-sign on to that. That you would have to hold my. You would have to metaphorically hold my hand through a lot of these universes because isekai and like demons and stuff. That's your area of expertise, not mine. Unless it's Beelzebub in the case of I just fight them with my bare hands, which that could work too.
all right, I mean, as I said, it's an honorable mention because depending on who I ended up reincarnating as or whatever, I could end up really screwed in that world.
Yeah. Okay, so my next one,
Go right ahead.
Blue Dragon.
Okay.
Okay, so this is an honorable mention because I kind of mean the anime, but I also kind of mean the games because the anime was just kind of well, if you don't have a shadow, you're SOL or shadow stand persona, whatever. But like I said, I always love the idea that everybody has their own unique power, and even if I didn't, the video game gets weird about it because it's like, hey, you see this little thing, this little ball thing, yeah, just put it in your body and you get a shadow. I'm like. Oh, okay, that's weird, but cool. Well, but in all seriousness, I just for some reason I love the style of anime where here it's not necessarily that technology is gone, but it's just not that advanced. So I guess in my opinion, there are times I kind of feel like maybe I should take a break from technology and that sort of thing. But having your own shadow, which kind of serves as your guardian angel, your conscience, that sort of thing, it would just be kind of cool, even if he probably wouldn't like me that much at first. And some can transform, some can shoot fire. And it's not just them, the shadow, doing the work, it's you training alongside it. And it's just a cool way of implementing it. And honestly, Blue Dragon, just in my opinion, just did not really get the love it deserved. So I don't know. I just think it's an honorable mention because it's not the craziest place to think of, but the characters are likable enough that would be cool with it, and so are the powers.
Yeah, I remember really enjoying the when it first premiered because didn't it premiere on Kids WB when we were kids? And
Something like that. Kids WB, Cartoon Network. I don't know.
if it was Kids WB, I think it got put on like it premiered at a really good time, and then like a week later was at like the worst possible time. Is like the first thing shown or the last thing shown, so you never
Yeah.
got to see it.
Yeah, it really did not get helped in that regard.
Yeah, so it was. I could understand cosine. I remember enjoying the powers and stuff. It's been a long time since I've seen anything about it, so
Yeah, I'd like to do a video on it, but I just have to find where in the world to watch it. But I've since found it. But it's there's a lot that's taken priority over it.
yeah. All right, so I only have one more honorable mention, then you have another honorable mention, right?
That's right. Go ahead.
All right, so I've put this one on here from up to what I've seen because from my understanding, it does get darker in some story elements, and that's Eden Zero. So
Oh boy.
yeah, so I've only seen what's considered, I guess, the first season or the first part.
Oh, okay. Oh, Eden's. Oh, I'm sorry. You said Eden Zero. I was thinking of a completely different anime.
Oh, no. I think I know what you're thinking of, but no, this is the kind of the one that's by the fairy tale creator, but takes place in like space and stuff. It's a really cool space adventure so far. There are a lot of creepy things. So I can understand where, how to put it. Some people probably wouldn't want to go to this universe, but what I've seen, I mean, there's like fantasy worlds. There's places that are pretty much post-apocalyptic. There are societies that are built on robots. There are societies that are like a utopia. I mean, if you can think about it, there's pretty much a planet that's kind of been shown already for it. From my understanding, there's some story elements that are coming from later on that might change where this is, but I've only seen the first part that's on Netflix and here in the US. So I'm going based on that. It's just a fun space adventure. It's one of those, it's not a war. It's taking place in space like the Gundam or the, where it's not a fight for survival like the Star Blazers or as I said, like a war like the other one I've talked about a few times. I don't remember right now. Galactic Heroes, that's it. So just more of a space adventure versus everything else that seems to always rotate around survival or war.
Yeah, I can definitely co-sign onto that. I don't know a whole lot about Eden Zero, and that's this fairy tale sort of thing, right? The same people.
Yeah, same creator, same artist, and all that.
Yeah, and it's ironic because I'm in some anime groups with people, and they have since given me my fairy tale magic or whatever, just based on everything I've told them.
Okay.
Yeah, but I guess I can co-sign onto that.
All right. And so, what's your last honorable mention?
Daily Lives of High School Boys.
I thought this was.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go
I
ahead.
thought this one was on your list last time.
It was
but
not.
I could be wrong.
It was not. But overall, like even if it was, which I apologize for, it's just a world where everybody is just likable enough, and even the most annoying character isn't even all that annoying. But it's just one of those shows that all the characters are likable. They have really active imaginations, and it's just a fun. It would just be a fun place to live in. Plus, it has a lot of my favorite anime cliche. Which we've talked ad nauseum about cliches. We're not doing a part 3 unless people really want it. But in all seriousness, I like a lot of the characters. The setting itself it's kind of cool. Cool just in the sense of it's high school, but even the teachers are kind of hilarious at times. And ultimately, it's just cool because there's not too much conflict in it. The only conflict in it is like a flashback to where this person was a giant bully, but even then, she's still trying to redeem herself. I just like everybody in it.
I can understand that. I've only seen a few scenes from it, so I don't know like enough to completely co-sign, but I understand that, and it seems to follow kind of similar logic to some of mine this time, which was the characters are likable enough that I kind of want to go to this world just to be hang out with them for a little while.
Yeah, that's true. So, and I just checked my list. It was not, my old list. It was not on there.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I know we've talked about this a few times, so
Yeah, but since I just went, what's your last one?
all right. So my last one is One Piece. The idea of go I could see this going kind of the similar Dragon Ball way where things could go really bad one way or the other, but I mean it's the adventure of this world and all that. And I've seen a good bit more of this anime since the last time I think I talked about it. So because I finished Dressrosa and I've started on like the next arc. I haven't gotten very far into the next arc yet, but just the idea of getting to travel with a close group of friends here from fruits that you randomly ate. Always getting to go pretty much. It would be fun to be the pirates, pretty much, is my mindset, is because you get to do whatever you want. And at this point, you don't really care except for that you want to be just you're going out there to go on an adventure. That's pretty much. I love Luffy as a character.
Yeah, and from the sounds of it, not you don't necessarily have to go to be the pirate, the king of the pirates. You could basically have whatever types of goals we'd want. The only problem is I don't see us doing very well on a ship. I feel like we'd have to get like 6 or 7 other people.
Well, that's probably true, but yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, and also we have to give up the ability to swim, but I'm kind of okay with that.
Or you could train as a swordsman or a marksman and keep your ability to swim. It's up to you. I mean,
Yeah, and
that's the thing.
plus, if you were in One Piece from the very beginning, they would have included you as a line in the One Piece rap, so that would have been completely worth it.
Oh, that reminds me. I need to find it again. I saw someone updated it with including honorable members of the crew and the updated members since the One Piece rap was created.
Yeah. Yeah, and the fact that there are no concerts for the One Piece rap, like just 3 hours of that song, we have failed as a species just because of that. Nothing else on the world, just exclusively that.
I think there might be some, and you can go on YouTube and watch someone do it for hours on end.
Okay, and it's probably me. But in all seriousness, it seems like a cool world it would be. I actually know a lot more about One Piece than I lead on the podcast, but it's just kind of fun to be ignorant about it sometimes.
I know where they're at, and followed. I know what's going on in what's the called the Wano saga, I guess now, because it's like multiple arcs have happened in it already. But so I know what's going on. I know what happens in the world, but I've only watched up to a certain point, just past Dressrosa. So
Yeah, and plus I like a lot of the characters, and it would be cool, but we'd have to do our best not to fall for Boa Hancock because apparently everybody does at some point.
apparently,
I figured you'd know more about her, but maybe I know more about her. But anyways, I can co-sign. I can agree with One Piece.
all right. And so your final one?
All right, so I don't talk about this hobby a whole lot because it's there's not a whole lot to talk about on the anime on the podcast, but this is one of those times where I actually feel good because I can actually talk about this sort of thing, and that's professional wrestling and the anime Tiger Mask W.
Okay.
I talked before last time that want to be the strongest in the world really wouldn't be for me because there are a lot of like lewd shots of the girls and the wrestling, and it gets a little cringy sometimes. But you don't really get that with Tiger Mask. Gee, I wonder why. But in all seriousness, I really, like I said, I'm a huge wrestling fan, and I've just always found the business itself really interesting, especially over in Japan. And it's not just like Tiger Mask himself that's like a character. There are other wrestlers from Japan who are in this show. Like there are wrestlers who are in stables and factions, tag teams, that sort of thing. So if I was a fan, I'd be incredibly happy. And if I was a wrestler, if I somehow survived the rigorous, horrible training, it would. I still think it would be cool because I just get to meet a lot of wrestlers I liked. Plus, for any of you New Japan fans out there, I would join Lij with Naito, and we would just it would just be so much fun causing trouble for people, but then eventually mellowing out and becoming good guys, sort of good guys. But Tiger Mask W, it's a cool concept, and like I said, as a wrestling fan, I had to include it.
Ghost-Sign, I've actually seen, I think the first 10 episodes. I was watching it when it was coming out and then got caught up and never actually finished it. So I've never seen the ending, but I do remember really enjoying this. I remember going back and trying to watch the original Tiger Mask anime, which was back in like the 70s or something.
Even I haven't gone back that far.
Yeah, well, it was hard to find. Did I ever find it? No, I found like clips of it on YouTube, and I think it was like a fan dub, so it wasn't great.
Hey! Those people try their hardest. Those people try very hard.
Yes, they deserve credit because it was one of the few places that you could watch that I was able to watch even a couple scenes of it, but it was kind of awkward sounding, so I didn't continue looking for it after that. I don't think so.
Yeah, we should get the cameo just so we can start fan dubbing anime lines for people.
Oh God, that'll take a while.
Yeah, it's but we're all just getting it wrong. But like I said, plus just for those of you who don't know, like wrestling in Japan is very similar to like MMA in America. Like you see a fighter or something, and they're lined up with a lot of people, like their entourage or stuff like that. Just being in like a group or a faction type thing would be super cool. Plus, as a Japanese wrestler, I'd say, hey, let's go over to America and work with like WWE or Impact or something like that. It would just make the wrestling business so much more interesting. But like I said, the characters are likable. A lot of my favorite wrestlers are in it. Tiger Mask W just seemed like a necessity to be on my list.
Yeah, but as I said, I can co-sign. I really enjoyed the anime when I was watching it. It's actually on my list to go back and actually complete it, so eventually I will.
And there are only like 200 of those on your list. But anyways, what anime worlds would you guys like to live in? Are there any reasons that of the worlds we listed that you wouldn't want to live in, or just anything in general, any different worlds? And if you think, you missed an obvious one, well, go back and watch the original. Like, our old stuff isn't that bad to go back and, okay, it is. But still, just let us know and talk to us. Let us know.
Yeah, as I said, I mean, there's some obvious ones. I mean, the first two that come to mind, we've discussed plenty on this channel, are Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! They're both on that list. Just go back and watch them. They're both on there.
Well, there's also a Yu-Gi-Oh! Series that's on my don't want to live in list, but that was last time. But just let us know. Hopefully we'll be back to a somewhat consistent schedule. I've got some more commentaries planned, and Richard is existing over there.
I'm just trying to make it on time.
Yeah, but let us know. Put it in the comments. Subscribe if you want. But dear Lord, as happy as I am that we're getting more and more popular, reading off some of these names is going to be difficult because there's so many people. We've gained like 200 subscribers in the past couple of weeks.
Yes, it is much appreciated though, and we really hope that you will continue to enjoy the content. As I said, we do have new ideas coming. It's just finding time to actually sit down and make the lists.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be able to do more content with other people, but I don't like other people all that much. I was this close to just kicking you and Jay off the podcast, so it would just be me and Poke Furlax. But I'm like, no, be professional, be cool. But hopefully just more people that we actually both like talking to. But we'll see you guys later. Hope you're excited for Zatch Bell, because I certainly am. And we will catch you guys next time. This has been Alex.
And Richard.
And you've been listening to the Anime Egotists. Good night, and peace easy.